Why do fathers tend to be more overprotective of daughters than with their sons? I suspect they remember how they treated girls when they were young and dumb, and don't want their daughters to experience it from the boys who are young and dumb now. So they overdo it on protectiveness, hoping they can prevent it. Fathers tend to be overprotective because they know what and how guys think and want to protect their daughters from that. Mothers tend to be overprotective because they know what guys can do and want to prevent their sons from doing that. I asked my brother who has a daughter and he said, when you have a son, you have to worry about one penis. When you have a daughter you have to worry about all penises. Edit. Responses have brought to my attention that some of you think this is advice and not just a humorous example of the weird thinking these people have. Don't actually use this as advice. Here's the simple answer. From a father of both a daughter and a son. I've worked around men and women for 30 years. I know which one of my kids is at risk. And I know who they are at risk from. It's a social thing, arguably backed up biologically, necessity and logic. Girls tend to be weaker than boys, especially during and after the onset of puberty. Girls after the onset of puberty can also pregnant, and girls are a much higher risk of sexually assault, and even to predators of a non-sexual nature. Girls and women in general are seen as easier targets, mainly because men understand that there are predators out there that enjoy preying on women. If a man teaches his daughter to defend herself in a very efficient way, there is less to worry about. However, the thought of your daughter or son becoming a statistic is always a real fear for parents. Regardless of how old they are, once you become a parent, you never stop worrying about them. 1. As a grown man, I know exactly what messed up things boys and young men think about. Obviously not all of them, but enough of them. I can raise my son right, but I can't do anything about anyone else's son. 2. Girls and women, statistically speaking, are typically physically smaller and weaker than post-puberty boys and men. Again, I understand there are exceptions, but this fits more often than not. 3. The burden of pregnancy and having a child falls 100% on the girl, woman. Maybe the boy, man, will step up. Or maybe he'll disappear and never be heard from again. My son is much less likely to become the victim of somebody else. My son is much less likely to fall prey to an older person flaunting money and a lavish lifestyle. My son is much less likely to feel pressure to use his sexuality to achieve a goal. And on and on. Once again, I understand there are exceptions, but statistics don't lie. Edit. I should add, positive attention is addicting, and is the primary weapon that a nefarious man will use to prey on a girl or woman. It is easier to raise a boy to treat others well than it is to raise a girl to not fall victim to positive attention, which we are biologically hardwired to seek and accept. Fathers were once boys. They remember what some boys your age were willing to do. I'm not a dad yet, but after seeing how my high school friends and other young boys have treated their girlfriends, or girls in general, you bet your ass I'm going to get into my daughter's boyfriend's head that I'm blaming him for any bruise or scratch I find on her. Also, young girls are much more likely than young boys to be trafficked, raped, or otherwise assaulted by, as far as I know, orders of magnitude. I mean, just practically speaking, girls are far less capable of defending themselves than men, making them more vulnerable to stuff like rape and assault. Not sure why we're beating around the bush. Because sons get overprotective mothers, and trust me, it's more than fair. My dad followed me around the store since I was 21. I'm a guy. Your question is a great one. and it strikes at core values of most human societies. Contrary to many of the replies, it is not biologically programmed, nor is it universal. There are a variety of small, but very real matriarchal, polyandrous, woman-led, women take multiple husbands, societies that do not follow this model. It is a social phenomenon common to most human societies, and tends to be explained by sociologists, not biologists. Taboos against female promiscuity are ancient, and grow from the idea that in parentage, motherhood is fact, fatherhood is faith. Collectively, men enforce the taboo to ensure every father's child is their own. If, as a father, you allow your daughter to behave in such a way that people could question her virginity, your honor is at stake. This may sound outmoded, but "don't you come near my daughter" is a core expression of a virginity-valuing culture like conservative American culture. Your own dad may not think of it this way, but collectively, nearly every aspect of male culture pushes this idea on him. Not every father is overprotective of their daughter. Some, like me, wanted them to experience life, feel joy and pain, enjoy success, learn from failure, develop thick skin and gain independence and confidence. I think there are enough answers of varying degrees of accuracy. So instead I'll share my story as inspo. My dad is scary. Really scary. He's known on the local university campus as being absolutely difficult and terrifying. He can and will make your life miserable. He's the kind of person you don't want to associate with, but in a war, you want him on your side. He had the forethought to know what kind of world I would grow up in. He sent my brother and I to karate at the ripe old age of 5 years old. Best thing he's ever done for me. Save for paying my tuition. And, yeah, no, that's basically it. Anyways, even if I as a smaller woman wouldn't be able to use much karate in an assault, I still have gained the confidence, quickness, voice, and id, like an aura, that makes men back off. I recently did an experiment to see how many men I bump into on the street after hearing stories of women being tired of moving out of men's way all the time. Doing this experiment, and getting bumped into 5+ times on a half-hour walk. So I was like, no way men have that much audacity and entitlement. Now, I'm 5'4", maybe 5'5". I'm not buff, but I swear to you, men walking 3 abreast down the sidewalk would jump into single file as I approached them. Never once did I bump into anyone, including men who could literally bowl me over from not seeing me. Where am I going with this? Ladies, get scary, get feral, get absolutely unhinged if you need to. Radiate confidence. Murder strut. You can be wearing a sundress and still nobody would mess with you. Because they remember how they viewed women as teenagers. Funny thing is, lots of them don't really seem to care about teaching their sons how to treat women either. It's a gender thing. Mothers are often more protective of their sons and more antagonistic towards their daughters as well. It's why it's normal for boys to hate their dad and girls to hate their mom. I would want to protect my son from being harassed, catcalled, pressured, groomed, molested or impregnated by women. It's just that doesn't happen very often. Because fathers are painfully aware of how disgusting young boys, men, can be to girls since they were them one at one point in time. They don't want guys doing to their daughters what they did to other girls when they were young. Because they know all the dirty tricks that boys will try to pull.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.